So as you can see based off that little reveal I did, I have decided that the only thing I need in this life is yet another car. The Beetle's actually back together. I will cover that in another video, but I want to focus on this today. So the badging's a little deceptive. It says it's a 1960 Pontiac. It's not actually a Laurentian. It's, if you open the door, you get to figure out it's actually a Strato Chief. So yeah, this is a 1960 Strato Chief that I bought a few weeks ago and finally have it in somewhat of order enough to show you it. So this is an interesting piece of history. So this would be very similar to the Pontiac Bonneville down in the States, but this is actually a Canadian market only car. Well, the States got things like the Star Chief, the Bonneville, and like so on and so forth. The Canadian market got this. I think the Laurentian was the higher trim model and the Strato Chief was usually the lower trim model. So basically the only thing it shares with the US counterparts is the body, essentially. It doesn't actually have a wide track and doesn't have the same frame and suspension as the US model. It's actually a full-size Chevy underneath the sheet metal. So think more of like a Biscayne, Impala, something Chevy, not Pontiac. So it comes with a couple other things on top of that. So yeah, it has a less wide stance to it. It's much more narrow like the Chevys were. And on top of that, I'm gonna pop the hood and we will see the beast that hides underneath of it. Not what you expect. So it's time for the big reveal of the engine, and as you can see, that is most certainly not a V8. The Bonneville and the US counterparts would have had a 327 in them, usually from factory. But like I said, since these are just a full-size Chevy underneath the sheet metal, it's actually inline six, and not just any inline six. This is a 261 inline six, which is another Canadian market exclusive. So as you can see, I've got it crudely hooked up to a battery that's way too large. Done very little work to get it actually up and running though. I purchased it mostly in running and driving condition. It ran off a jerry can that was tucked underneath of there. This hose just kind of ran into here, but I did some work on the tank. I replaced the rubber fuel line that goes from the tank to the hard line, and other than that, that's really it. It's ran fine ever since. The previous owner did an oil change. He did the brakes as well. You can see it's been upgraded from a single to a dual master cylinder, so at the very least, if something goes wrong, you have some brakes instead of no brakes. If you come into the inside, you can definitely see it has seen much better days, but surprisingly somewhat intact. You got other basic things. So you got your basic manual 3 on the tree transmission, very standard for its year. It doesn't have AC, doesn't have anything fancy like that. I know it says air. That does not mean air conditioning. That means it just blows air. It's got heat, which I guess up in Canada, especially back in the day, not like it's ever going to see winter again, but I'm sure that would be useful. Everything works on it mostly. The windshield, shockingly, is in good condition. There is a little bit of delamination happening at that bottom corner by the antenna. Other than that, everything else works. So if you give me a quick moment, but as you can see, condition wise though, as we step out, not the greatest. The rocker panel is getting a little holy there, much more so here, and this is where it gets the worst, is the dog leg right behind the driver's rear door. The driver's rear door as well is suffering some rust damage. It looks like it was once in a collision, had its fiberglass put over it. The patch panel or the body filler, whatnot. And as you can see, that has failed at some point. Water's gotten behind it. Same situation here. You can see the filler failed and rot behind it. But overall, for a Northern Canadian car from 1960, so this thing is 65 years old, it is in surprisingly decent shape. Now, mind you, the fenders are not original to the car. And as you can see, I went to go unload it and the tire was flat, so it popped right off the rim. If you stick around, we will be taking care of that though. Not by fixing it, just by replacing it with another set of wheels I got. But yeah, previous owner did these repairs. He redid the rocker panel, as well as part of this dog leg, as well as the lower section of the quarter panel. I need to finish up the repairs. As you can see, it's not quite welded the whole way through, but much better than having nothing left there at all. All in all, this will probably be a much more rough looking example when I'm done. I'm not doing a full resto to it. I'm not doing what, oh hey kitty, I'm not doing what I've been doing to this Beetle here. It's not getting completely ripped apart and put back together and whatnot. I do have a rear bumper. It just doesn't mount the best right now, just due to some rust where it should mount. As you can see, we do have a bit of rot going on in the tail section of the frame. This is the X frame that a lot of early 60s GMs used. So instead of having like your full square ladder frame, it starts wide, goes narrow in the middle, and goes back out wide again. So yeah, and this is just a mocked up repair panel. It needs to be formed a little bit better, but it's a start. The cat's underneath. But yeah, so I'm going to show you the wheels. We're going to get those on there, and hopefully, it's been a few days, but hopefully she starts. So this is the first wheel mocked up. Haven't got completely bolted on yet. Before you ask, are those center lines? They absolutely are not. They're NKs apparently, so they are knockoffs. They don't make these wheels anymore. They've gone more into, you know, the more tuner style, but apparently back in the day they did make centerline knockoffs, which I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I don't have centerline money, so we're gonna go with these. For lug nuts, I just have these Dorman ones that I purchased. They're just your typical enclosed style. I just figured that they look a little bit better than, you know, just your open old-fashioned nut. So hopefully they thread on. They did thread on by themselves, but hopefully they fit with the wheel. So I'm gonna quickly get these bolted on and we'll see what she looks like. So the first one is all mounted up on the vehicle now. Looks much better with the enclosed lug nuts. Obviously the wheels need a bit of a washing. You can see they got some water stains, whatnot on them, but I just want to see how they fit first. So I'm gonna drop this down. We'll see how she sits, and then hopefully just do the other three, and I'll show you when it's all done. But first, just you look at that. Much better. And these are upgraded to a 15 over the 14s. Just because where I am at, 14s are very difficult to source. And nothing against these wheels, but they're just not really my style. And also they're like missing the center cap. And all that. They're pretty rusty. I will probably end up keeping them around or see if someone else wants them more than I do, but I'm sure they're still great if you can get some tires for them. Just with my time frame, it was just way easier to upgrade to a 15 than to stick to a 14. So there's our old stack of tires. And now look at that go.
looks a lot better in my opinion. It really brings out really matches like the chrome and brings out the aesthetic to me, but that's just my personal opinion. I obviously got to wash it, get that blue protective layering off the tires. Those are Cooper Cobras, I believe. Yes, Cooper Cobra, the radials. I was gonna look at the BFGs, but they're about like an extra $100 a tire where I am, and this whole car is not even the same price as the BFGs, so I went with Coopers. So hopefully they hold out. And now for the final part, where we start her up and hope it starts. It's been a few days. So that will be it from me today. So as you can see, unlike the Beetle, I got a running and driving car. Cost me under $1,000. That's Canadian too, by the way. Technically the Beetle did run, but I decided to tear that apart and restore it. But this bad boy is just probably gonna be a rat rod, and that's all she's gonna be. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you appreciate the beauty of this car as much as I do, and have a good rest of your day.